Hi guys, and today I'm doing a first impression on a cushion foundation, and it's going to be this Sephora Wonderful Cushion Glowy Natural Finish Cushion Foundation. I've never tried any cushion foundations in my life, but for about a year now, cushion foundations have been such a huge thing. People seem to rave about them, and different brands keep bringing out different cushion foundations. So let's open this up and see what it looks like. So it's just like a steady, nice black packaging, and when you open it up, it comes with a little puffy puff thing to blend out the product here. So it looks like this, it says Sephora on it, and that's your cushion foundation. And it also comes with a mirror, so this would be a perfect product on the go, because you have your applicator, you don't have to worry about any brushes or sponges. If this works, then this would be perfect just to bring with you. And yeah, let's just see what this foundation looks like. I'm going to dip just a few times. Okay, maybe I need to dip in a bit more. The pan is slightly smaller than the applicator, so you have to dip in a few times. And now let's see how this applies onto my face. Okay, so I think the color is actually a really good match. This gave me a medium coverage. Already I can say that my complexion is a lot more even, my freckles are nowhere near as visible. You can still see my freckles if you look at me closely, so it's not a full coverage, definitely not, but a lot fuller than what I expected. I also think the color is perfect for my skin tone. I mean, it might be slightly off with my neck, but my neck never tans, so it's always lighter than my face or my body. But I think against my hand and against my arm, this is a perfect color for me. It is yellow undertone, which I am a yellow warm undertone. So now I'm going to apply one layer with a beauty blender on this half of my face.
Out here, and these nights are getting shorter, like a energy I'll conquer. In my soul, this is real. These nights are getting shorter. In my soul, this is real.
I actually prefer the side with a beauty blender. I think it gave me even more coverage than the applicator did. It's definitely not a light coverage foundation. For me, this is definitely a medium coverage, only with one layer. I thought with a beauty blender the coverage wouldn't be as good, but it is. So now I'm going to apply a second layer and see whether we can actually build it up and perhaps achieve really good coverage. You know what? Screw this applicator. I know it's very convenient and definitely I would use this on the go. However, right now I just don't think it's very easy for me to get around my eyebrow and around my eyes, so I'm actually going to use a beauty blender. But for traveling, definitely that applicator is not bad. This is just so much easier to apply with a beauty blender. And yes, I have dark under eye circles, which I can try to cover, but I think I would wear concealer anyway underneath my eyes, because my dark under eye circles are really quite bad, so I wouldn't expect this product to cover them anyway, but it's doing a pretty decent job, and definitely with my freckles, it covered them so nicely. You guys, I'm going to zoom you in now because I'm so shocked that you need to see the coverage of this and tell me if this is a light to medium coverage foundation, because I'm looking at myself and thinking my Revlon Color Stay foundation gives me exactly the same amount of coverage. Yes, there is an odd freckle that you might be able to see on my face, but literally that's the case with my Revlon Color Stay foundation as well. And yes, I would still wear concealer with this foundation. As I said, I would wear concealer underneath my eyes with every foundation other than my Dermaco. But other from that, It literally covered everything so perfectly. Beautiful light to medium coverage. You probably won't be able to see that, but it says light to medium coverage. Fair enough, this is not going to be a full coverage with one layer. With one layer you will get a medium coverage, but it's also not a light coverage, unless maybe you use a tiniest amount of product. And even though it claims to be glowy, on my dry skin, this doesn't look very dewy or glowy, but it doesn't look matte either. It's just normal. It's just a normal, healthy looking foundation. You can definitely see some shine on my face. I am not going to be setting this foundation. I am going to set my eyelids and underneath my eyes. That's where we can see some creasing already. You can see some creases on my eyelids and underneath my eyes, but that's okay because I'm going to go over with a concealer on top and then put some powder over it to set it. However, I'm not going to set my entire face just because my skin is very dry and I'd rather not set my foundation if I don't need to. But we'll see how this wears throughout the day. I really hope this stays nicely put throughout the day and wears for many hours. I'm going to apply the rest of my makeup and then I'm going to check back in about maybe 6 to 8 hours. Okay guys, so it's been many hours since I last checked in with you guys, so I thought I'd come back here. And earlier on today, my nan actually complimented my makeup. She also said my base was really nice, which I didn't expect her to notice anything. I didn't tell her that I was wearing something else on my face, and fair enough, I can see that I'm wearing a different product than I would usually wear, but I didn't think people would have noticed. But the fact that she did, I think it genuinely shows how good this foundation is. I'm going to look at myself close, but I already know I love this. And I know I said the same thing about that CC cream from Sephora that I reviewed. However, I love this one even better than that Sephora CC cream. Only I wish this had an SPF to it. This doesn't have any SPF. Say the person who was writing these claims on this packaging, they must have never tried out these products themselves. Not only I would definitely 100% classify this as a medium to full coverage foundation and says light to medium coverage, it also says it's a glowy foundation, which for me, I know I have a dry skin though, so we have to bear that in mind, but for me this foundation is matte. Like full-on matte. I know at the start it felt tacky, but I didn't set it with powder, and now a few hours later it is dry, it is completely matte. I didn't put any powder on my forehead at all. I did put some highlighter, which is the shiny part down here, and I have some bronzer on, which is a powder, but I don't have any powder on my nose, on my forehead or around my mouth. And it looks matte, it looks completely matte. It's really weird because I didn't set it with anything, I didn't set it with any powder. This did not oxidize. I still think this is my skin tone, my color, didn't oxidize. It rubbed off ever so slightly around my mouth, but you have to remember I was filming some other videos in the meantime and I was applying different lipsticks. I also was eating and drinking, but I could still totally go out with this foundation looking like this. I can just see a few more freckles peeking through. I am so impressed when it comes to the longevity of this foundation and to the fact that it didn't oxidize. It settled ever so slightly into my fine lines, but nothing all that major. And a big plus for me is the fact that this didn't emphasize my pores. Out of every foundation I reviewed on my channel, this is actually my favorite. Very surprisingly, I'll 110% use it in the future. I am probably not going to use the applicator. I tried to wash it. I tried to wash this applicator, but I probably have to use some special like Beauty Blender Solid or something because this didn't want to wash out properly. It still looks stained, but I don't think I'm going to ever use this applicator. I'm going to use my Beauty Blender. I love the packaging of this, as I said, very steady. I will be using this loads because I am in love with this. Number 20 cream is my shade, my undertone, very yellow, very beautiful, But yeah, you guys, I think that is the end that I wanted to say for this video. Thank you so much for watching, I hope you enjoyed. If you didn't, please like it and subscribe to me if you're not already, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!